Hi guys, welcome back to Maddie Meets. Today, Maddie meets J.R.R. Tolkien.
Hi, Madeline. It's such a pleasure to be here with you tonight.
It's nice to meet you too, Mr. Tolkien. Let's get on with our interview. We've heard you wrote lots of fantasy books. Why don't you tell us about some of the awards you've won for your literature?
Well, Madeline, I'm so glad that you asked me that question. I don't really like to talk about all of my accomplishments, but one of the awards that I won was the Locus Award for Best Fantasy Novel.
That's very interesting. I enjoy hearing about that. Now, what books have you written?
Well, I'm probably best known for The Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit, or There and Back Again.
Nice. I've read a few of those books before. What quotes would you use to describe yourself as an author, Mr. Tolkien?
One of my best known quotes was a quote by Gandalf, the wizard in The Lord of the Rings, when he said, "Not all those who wander are lost." I've heard that some people actually get that tattooed on them. One of the other quotes that's pretty well known from my writing is, "All we have to decide is what we do with the time that is given to us." That was also from The Lord of the Rings.
Tell us about where you were born and where you lived.
I appreciate you asking me that question, Maddie. I was born in South Africa, but at the young age of 3, my family moved back to England. I lived in England then for the remainder of my life. I lived to be 81 years old, but unfortunately, I passed away because of a bleeding ulcer and chest infection. That was in 1973.
That sounds really terrible. I am so sorry to hear that. Tell me about your wife and kids. Did you have any pets?
I actually was married and had children. I married Edith Bratt back on March 22nd, 1916. We had 4 children. We also had a couple of dogs along the way. Dogs are my favorite animal.
You had a large family, it sounds like. What did you do in your spare time? What hobbies did you have?
Well, this is actually the most interesting part. While I was actually working on The Lord of the Rings, I ended up procrastinating on my academic work. I didn't do anything I was supposed to be doing. But I did like my job. Writing fantasy fiction was just a hobby. Who knew that just a hobby would turn into such a career and develop so many characters?
Well, that looks like we're about out of time. Thank you so much for joining us, and I had a pleasure getting to meet you. I am so glad that you finally got to come onto the show. With your busy schedule, I know it's been hard to work you onto the show. All right, roll the credits. Starring Madeline Jones! And featuring the many faces of J.R.R. Tolkien. And my mom.